Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. We'll be discussing custom roles and how they power both flexibility and governance in Foleon. My name is Adele. I'm the Product Education Manager here at Foleon. Very excited to be hosting today. A few practical things just before we jump in. This will take about 20-25 minutes, and the chat is live. So if you have any questions at all while we're talking, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll make sure that your questions get answered. And last but not least, a recording will, of course, be available on demand afterwards. I have two experts with me today. We have Irem, our product owner, who was heavily involved in the development of custom roles. She's going to show us a little bit of what that looks like in the platform. We also have Björn, our senior customer success manager, who's going to talk us through some examples of how customers are organizing their users and roles. So thank you both so much for being here. We're really excited to have you. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to start with a question for you, Irem. Can you just give us a quick introduction to custom roles? What are they? And from your perspective as product owner, why did we develop this feature?
Absolutely. Thank you, Adele. So the custom roles are roles that you create yourself. They let you define exactly what each person in your organization can do inside our app, Foleon. And they give you a granular control over permissions. So instead of relying on predefined roles that you're used to, like admin and designer, you can actually configure your own roles by selecting the right access level for each area in the platform. So this means you can actually decide who can create the brand kits, edit templates, publish content, or just view docs. So it's fully configurable. And the reason why we built the custom roles is because the real world team structures rarely fit into one size fits all roles like designer, admin. But when we spoke to customers, we heard again and again that the roles are task-based. So people wanted their setup in Foleon to reflect how they actually work in their day-to-day work. So the custom roles, you can mirror those task-based responsibilities directly in the platform. And that means every person gets the right level of access. So no more over permissioning, no more risk, or no more inconsistencies in your branding. So it allows enterprise teams to stay flexible and scale easily and protect their brand. And from the governance perspective, I think that's huge.
Definitely. Yeah, really excited to talk more about that and how that really looks in practice. Björn, custom roles is obviously something we've recently launched as we're having this conversation. So I'm curious to hear from you, how do customers kind of typically manage access and permissions, let's say now without custom roles? And what would you say are some of the most common challenges they face along the way?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this new feature, right? Because it's going to allow organizations to really look at their processes and create a user role fit for a particular role within their organization. So currently, we already have predefined roles in the platform: admins, designers, standard seats. But as always, you always have a situation in which there's a nitty-gritty small thing that doesn't really fit your process. So, I manage the larger customers on our side. So, having custom roles will really allow our customers to, look at their processes, come up with a role, and scale it throughout their team. Having a lot of control and governance and a lot of flexibility, to basically manage everything.
Yeah, definitely. I think that flexibility, especially for larger teams, is definitely one of the main reasons that we wanted to roll this out. And kind of going off of that as well, now that we do have custom roles, I'm curious, what would you say some of the most common use cases would be, or what are custom roles most useful for?
Well, I think it's useful for, basically any organization. We have unlimited a user feature. It's an add-on that we've recently introduced. So it really allows you to, introduce Foleon to all teams within your organization, but having another level of control on creating those user roles, really tailor them to your own organization, would really allow you to get the maximum out of the platform, I'd say. It's all about collaboration, right? And having the right rights for the right persons. And if you can nail that, then of course, content creation becomes a bit more fun.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. Getting more people involved, making sure everybody has their own role in there as well, is really nice. So I'd love to maybe just touch on one little thing as well, just in terms of, let's say, the power of both custom roles and unlimited users. When do you typically see teams kind of realizing like, hey, we really need both of these, the custom roles and unlimited users, to kind of reach that full potential? When do you kind of see that turning point happens?
Typically, with onboarding, the first questions arise because, of course, the customers start to think about, okay, what sort of role do I need to assign to a specific user? So then typically they start looking at what sort of users do we have? What are they allowed to do? And then typically there's like one or two things that don't really fit. So yeah, that is of course not a good situation to be in. So that's why we also came up with the idea to allow customers to really go in the platform and create the roles that they need, so that we take away those pain points.
Yeah, really nice. This leads me to kind of a clip that I want to show from Pinsent Masons. So I think they're doing some interesting stuff with how they're managing users to kind of speed up that collaboration, like we're talking about, and just thinking about what kind of roles can you use and how can you get more and more people involved in the process. So I'm going to share this clip and then we'll have a quick chat.
So the way that we set up our Foleon account is to have every member of staff a reviewer within the space. And that means that our publishers can share their documents with anyone within the business, whether it be a partner, a lawyer, or anyone else. And that means that we can really get our subject matter experts to look at all our documents at any given time, regardless of time zones. Content quality was a key aspect for us, and being able to create documents within a templated situation where we can dictate what the document looks like, whilst our business development people within the business, our subject matter experts, can really add the content to how that looks. What really makes sense is we can have design experts like myself to build those templates and then share them throughout the rest of the business. It's really like cloning my knowledge and giving that information to the rest of the firm.
Here we go back. Björn, I'd be curious to kind of hear your thoughts on Pinsent Mason's setup. It's a little bit of a two-part question because they are obviously getting a lot of people involved in the process.
Yes.
How do you think having kind of the entire staff on Foleon, how can that help collaboration? And how do you think custom roles can kind of help others replicate this in their own organization?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, Pinsent Masons is a great example of an organization that has adopted Foleon throughout every aspect within their team. So yeah, what they've done is they automatically allow anybody within their team to come in in the platform as a reviewer, which really helps, with the collaboration internally, because whenever somebody creates content and needs to obtain feedback, they can simply share a link and get that feedback from their manager or anybody who needs to do that. They use also our skim connection for this, which is basically a way of automating their user provisioning, right? Making it a lot easier to manage large volumes of users in the platform. And how can other clients replicate this? I would just really look at sort of the departments that your organization has, the potential users, and of course the content that they create, and setting up those user roles that you would need to create content, add as many reviewers in the platform to get the feedback, and I think that's
Really nice. I think the just being able to bring more and more people in and have that kind of feedback loop with the right guardrails in place, having, let's say the right roles for people to be involved in the process, the way that supports their organization best. So I have another clip from RSM UK. It's a very similar story in a way in terms of getting more people involved, but they had a slightly different process with this. So let me share that.
The challenge that's been set to us really is, how do we bring the business of 5,000 people up to a certain level or quality where we are happy to see that they have learnt from design fundamentals, I suppose, and have a knowledge and proficiency, and they're able to actually go off and be more self-sufficient without having to rely on our team. Yes, we're a larger team than we were, but we're still considerably small. What we realised is that when we started off with the reviewer role, we worked out quite quickly that what the M&A team wanted to achieve by going in and editing and making sure that things were done in a certain way, they couldn't do that as a reviewer. So we've shared a license with them to make sure that they understand the back end of what happens in Foleon. The reviewer or the free licenses are great from a commenting point of view and a feedback point of view, but when you need a little bit extra, it's really important that we get those designer roles or editor roles down pat, just to give people a little bit more freedom within the platform itself. The designer role, I would say, is probably suited better to your more advanced users. So the users that would be, I guess, our design team, and those that have been trained up to a certain level to make that work. The publisher role is more that top level person that can come in and make suggestions and work collaboratively with the designer or the person to make sure that as a team, you're doing things right.
Here we go. So Bjorn, what I really like about this story is that they're kind of doing something similar of, trying to get people involved, but it's slightly different from Pinsent Mason. So what do you kind of think of this, and how would custom roles fit into what RSM UK is trying to achieve here as well?
Yeah, so again, you mentioned, James mentioned 5,000 colleagues that they want to add to the platform. So then again, unlimited users become quite important, right? But he also told us that reviewers are quite limiting because they kind of need people to make changes here and there to really collaborate. So in this case, setting up a custom role, allowing the reviewing part to happen, but also allowing them to have a bit of control on, updating the content will already improve their processes internally quite significantly, providing a lot of value for them. So I think, combining unlimited users with custom roles, would be a perfect fit for RSM.
Yeah, really nice. I think that's really key, of just being able to match what you need in your organization to your actual users and the roles that you have. So I am going to launch a very quick poll here. If you're interested in a personalized demo for custom roles, unlimited users, or of course both, let us know in the poll. Your CSM is more than happy to kind of talk you through your specific scenario and make sure that you get the right setup that works for you and your team. So definitely let us know in the poll if you are interested in that. It will stay up and running for a bit, but in the meantime, Irem, I'm going to come back over to you. Finally, we haven't forgotten. Really excited for this part. Can you actually show us, what does this look like in Foleon? How can you create a custom role and assign it to users?
Sure. Let me share my screen. I'm also very excited to show it to you. So I'll start with opening the roles and permissions page. Here you can see a full overview of all the roles in your organization. Both are default roles that you're familiar with, like admin, designer, publisher, reviewer, etc., and any custom roles that you have been created. So here, the default roles, you can view what access they have. As you can see, it's quite limited. All you can do is just see what they can do, but you can't really edit them. And that is intentional because we wanted to keep our system and default setup simple and reliable. But you can start clicking create a new role here. But let's say we want to create a new role that is more tailored to your team structure than our default roles, like maybe a brand designer role. Instead, starting from scratch, I'll duplicate the designer role. And the reason for that is we want to give you a good starting point from a familiar setup, so you can configure it further down and basically what your team's needs are. So here I will duplicate the designer role, and I will rename it as a brand manager role. And you can also write a short description here, like brand manager that controls your branding. So you can see a full list of access and permissions here that is basically designed according to what jobs to be done in the platform. So we have different groupings here, like content production, brand and media, user and workspaces, and system settings, and analytics and billing. So for this role, what I will do, I will scroll down a bit and I will turn off everything in the content production. Here, I can click expand. I will set up everything to no access. Here we go. We're almost done for the content production. And as well as everything in the system settings will be turned off to no access. And you can also configure the analytics and billing. Invoice, we already don't have any access. So now this role has full visibility over brand related areas, but no permissions to change or publish the content. And it's a perfect setup for someone responsible for governance and oversight of your branding. So once I save this role, you will see that we have a new role as a custom role brand manager created here. So then I will go to the users page and for example, I can invite a new user. I will create myself. And then from here, the role drop down, you can see all the Foleon default roles, or just I want to select the custom role that I just created, which is brand manager. And then I can just simply save by entering their email address and assign them a workspace. So it's how easy to create a custom role that fits your exact team structure.
Really nice. Thank you so much, Irem, for showcasing that. It really lets you, of course, per user role that you want to create, really tailor that kind of permission by permission. So really nice to see. I'm just going to quickly share my screen here. What I want to show is just a few other examples of custom roles you can create. These are, let's say, the most common use cases we see. So IT admin, billing manager, marketing ops manager, agency designer, or like the brand manager Irem just showed. All of these kind of need to do different things in the system. But I think the main takeaway here is that this is truly customizable. You can really, customize this to how you need it for your organization. So Björn, before we wrap up here, do you have any kind of best practices or lessons learned from customers who are maybe thinking about implementing custom roles or unlimited users?
Yeah, so whenever I show this feature to my customers, they are always very happy with the possibility of creating these roles themselves, right? So they can really look internally and okay, I have role A, what does that person need to do? How can I structure that in the account, create the role, assign it? And, it provides so much value. So I would say, check it out all.
Nice. Thanks. Yeah, agreed. And Irem, any final tips or words of wisdom you'd like to share before we sign off?
Yeah, with custom roles, you can really mirror how your teams are truly working, and you can design a setup that truly reflects how your teams are collaborating and empowering your teams to do their best work while keeping the control over the brand and governance. So that's all I can say about it.
Nice. Thank you again, both so much for joining us. As we close off here, just want to say a final note. If you are interested at all, please get in touch with your CSM for kind of that personalized demo we mentioned. We'd love to talk you through the actual implementation and how we can support you on this. So last but not least, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.